My last debunk was something that had puzzled the community for years, so I thought I'd do something a little simpler this time. Smug Puppy is one of those channels that doesn't need debunking for the most part, but I felt like this one was a little higher effort than usual. Beardo recently took a look at this and pointed out the use of video transition effects and some practical lighting angles that make no sense. It's a good debunk, and I don't want to tread the same ground, but let's look at a different aspect instead. Smug Puppy's YouTube page says it's okay to use his content as long as he's credited, so here's his channel name. Regardless, this falls under fair use as it's both commentary and critique. It never hurts to be polite, though. This debunk is edited to be brief yet informative. As such, Smug Puppy's clips may have been shortened or otherwise altered to this end, but not in a way that misrepresents their content. If you want to see the full, unaltered, original video, you can see it on his channel. Here's the premise of the video. Smug Puppy is sitting at his computer and hears a noise. He gets up to investigate, walking over to a shelf from which another camera is recording. The camera disappears into a portal, and he calls up the stairs for his daughter to come down and help him. She stands in the living room while Smug Puppy goes into the bedroom. The missing camera reappears through another portal that manifests on the bedroom ceiling. The two reunite in the living room and spend far too long discussing the event. Everything is recorded from the perspective of two cameras. Camera 1 is always in the living room, and camera 2 starts on the shelf, travels to the bedroom, and ends up being carried around by Smug Puppy. The original video is edited so that the footage from these cameras is always displayed one at a time, and this is for good reason. Something becomes apparent when these videos are played side by side. It's impossible to sync up the living room clips from both cameras. Usually, when syncing camera footage to show the same thing from multiple angles, you arrange the timelines so that a distinct visual or audio event happens at the same time. No matter what point in the living room footage is chosen, these clips cannot be aligned in a way that keeps them in sync. Here's an example. If the clips are aligned so that Smug Puppy's hand leaves his head at the same moment in both camera angles, everything looks to be in sync when the clip is played forward from that point. Conversely, if the video is played backward from the same point, it becomes clear that his hand remains on his head for different amounts of time, depending on which camera shot the clip. This is a telltale sign that multiple takes have been performed and that the footage is actually from 2 points in time, not one. Why would anyone do this from a production standpoint? The footage from camera 1 is continuous, making it very difficult for visual effects to cover up someone manipulating camera 2, the one on the shelf. The area someone would need to be in is tiny, and Smug Puppy reaches into it. These factors make masking something out tricky. For the shelf camera footage to be convincing, it needs real movement. If the footage were edited after to make it appear to move, it would be too blatant. Instead, they opted to do a small take from camera 2, limited to the moment Smug Puppy steps in front of the camera, puts his hand on his head, and reaches forward to grab it. It's a short enough clip that doing a take that matches up with the footage from camera 1 becomes possible. It's still incredibly unlikely that everything will match perfectly, but the shortness of the clip increases the likelihood from 0%. Here's a breakdown of the separate clips. This shot from camera 2 in the living room is a different clip, as we've already talked about. This clip of camera 2 falling from the ceiling is probably separate. It would be easier to do this with 2 people in the bedroom, as the throwing of the camera and the practical lighting effects would be easier to do at the same time. This clip ends when the camera falls onto the bed and its lens is completely obscured in darkness. This is a very convenient edit point into the final clip from camera 2. Up last is the only clip from camera 2 that is shot at the same time as the footage from camera 1. Everything in this last clip can be synced up perfectly, which means that camera 2 is laying on the bed recording until it is brought out into the living room. As an aside, I've seen this poster in the background while watching these clips so many times, but my brain has never acknowledged the word that's written on it. Synchronicity. That's pretty ironic. Here's a visual breakdown of the clips, showing the 2 continuous shots at the top and the separate ones from camera 2 below. And that's it. Some simple editing tricks are used to combine multiple takes, presented in a way that makes it impossible for the average viewer to check whether things sync up correctly. There are probably lots of people out there right now saying, "I worked that out in 5 seconds, you didn't need to make this video." But there are people who think this is real. A quick scroll through the comments on Smug Puppy's channel is evidence of this. If one of those people sees this video and thinks to themselves, "Oh, maybe it isn't a ghost after all," then it was worth the time I spent. Thanks for watching and have a great day.